Good morning.
सदाशिवसमारम्भाम्
Sadashiva
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ
Om
शान्ति
Shanti
शान्ति
Shanti
शान्तिः
Shanti.
Om Tat Sat, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya.
Okay, so we're continuing with the left off. Let's see, that was number 29 of the 10th chapter. So we will chant. Shri Bhagavan
Shri
Bhagavan
Anantaschasminaganam
Anantashtasminam
Varuno Yadasamaham
Varuno Yadasamaham
Pitrunam Aryamas-chasmi
Pitrunam
Yamah Sanyamatamaham So I'll just mute you. Okay. So Aham Asmi Naganam Anantaha. Among all the snakes, all the Naga snakes, I am Anantaha. And Yadasam Aham Marunaha. Among all the water bodies, I am Marunaha. Pitrunam Aham Aryama Asmi. Among the Pitrus, the ancestors, I am Aryama. And Sanyamatanam. Sanyamatanam. Sayam means the one who is able to control. So Sayamatas are the controllers. Sayamatanam, among all the controllers, Aham Yamaha. I am Yamaraja. I am death itself. So in the last verses, we talked about Sarpas. And here he says Nagas. So what is the difference between Sarpa and Naga?
One is
Sarpa,
non-poisonous.
yes. One is non-poisonous, one is poisonous. And among the major deities, Sarpa is associated with whom?
Shivaji.
Lord Shiva. And Naga associated with Lord Vishnu. So which is poisonous and which is not?
The one Shiva is having is poisonous and the
Right. And Vishnu is non-poisonous.
non
So Sarpa means that which is poisonous, snake, and Naga is a non-poisonous snake. Now, what is the name of Lord Vishnu's Naga?
Sheshnag.
Krishna.
Also called Ananta Shayana. Ananta Shayana. And of course, if you look at the snakes are supposed to be cold-blooded, right? And therefore it can be a cool mattress. Anyway, because Lord Vishnu sleeps on that mattress. But philosophically, what is the name of Anantam? Ananta Shayana means what? Anantam means that without a what do you call boundary, infinite, and therefore Anantam can be then Nirguna Brahman, right? So if you have to read into it in terms of Puranas, you can say Vishnu is the Saguna Ishvara, and where is he located? On Ananta, which is the Swarupam, which is Nirguna Brahma. Okay. And how do you know that? Because the name of the Naga is Adi Sheshaha. What does the word Adi Sheshaha mean? All very interesting ways of interpreting. I told you all that we must learn to look at words to really understand what the root of the words are. So, Adi Sheshaha consists of two words. What are they?
Many-headed or many-footed.
And Shesha.
No,
Adi
nothing
and
at all.
Adi and Shesha.
Adi and
Adi and
Shesha.
Sheshaha. So, what are the meanings respectively?
Adi is
Shesha
beginning.
is the remaining, what is left
And
behind.
yeah, and Sheshaha is
Remaining of the beginning. It's remaining of the beginning.
no, no. Once your Adi has to be taken as a remnant. Sheshaha, the Adi Sheshaha means that which remains after everything else is destroyed. Sheshaha, that which remains after Adi, whatever has begun, is destroyed. What remains
Brahman.
after Pralayam? So the destruction is what? Pralayam. What is left behind after Pralayam? Only consciousness. Only Brahman is left behind. Maya, of course, is there, but avyakta Maya. So all beautiful ways of understanding the words. Ananda Shayana can be taken as Nirguna Brahman, which is the support of Saguna Vishnu. And Adisheshaha is again referring to the snake only, Ananta Naga only. But that is the Swarupam, because when everything else is destroyed, what remains is Brahman alone. Therefore, Nirguna Brahman is the Adhishthanam, the Swarupam for Saguna Vishnu. Okay. Then Yadasam Aham Varunaha. So Yadas is a Sanskrit word meaning water. So Yadasam, among all the water bodies, Aham Varunaha, I am the ocean. That is one interpretation. Okay. But Shankara gives it a slightly better interpretation. He says that Abda Abdevatanam is supposed to be Yadas. Yadasam means Abdevatanam. Abdevata means the water devata, right? So among all the water bodies or water devatas, I am Varunaha. Here he interprets Varuna as the chief of the water devatas, the king of the water devatas. So among all the water devatas, I am the king of the water devatas, right? So if you remember the Puranas, for each of the water bodies, you have, for example, lakes, you have rivers. So for a lake, you have a devata. For a river, you have a devata. For a well, you have a devata, right? So everywhere you got a devata. For ocean, you got a devata. Among all these devatas, who is the presiding devata? I'm Varuna devata, because Varuna is the presiding deity of what?
Water.
Oceans. See the oceans.
Of the ocean. Okay. And the ocean is the biggest reservoir of water. And therefore, Varuna devata, I am. I am the biggest among all the devatas. Okay. See, these are all, as I said, these are all stories because I have nothing much better to say. Okay. Anyway, Pitrinam Aryama Asmi. So there are many devatas in Pitralokas, right? And among all the devatas of Pitralokas, you have the head of the Pitralokas, which is called Aryama. Aryama is a Vedic deity, not very popular nowadays, because over a period of time, all the Vedic deities are who? Aryama, Varuna, Indra, all these are prominent Vedic devatas. And in Vedic times, all the worship went to these devatas. But generally, now of course, the Puranic devatas have come into prominence. So all the worship goes to Puranic devatas. That is different. The thing is that among all the Vedic devatas, I am Varunaha. So you remember that among the Pitra devatas, I am Aryama. Aryama is a Vedic devata who is the king of the Pitrus. Then Sayamata. Sayamata is a controller. Among all the controllers, I am Yamaha. Why is Yamaha the best of all the controllers? Because he is Kala Tattvam itself. And Kala Tattvam actually controls everything. Why? Why do we say that time controls everything?
Beginning and end is defined by it.
Nothing survives the attack of time. People don't survive, animals don't survive, planets don't survive, the universe itself doesn't survive. Right? I should remember, in this context, you should remember Bhajagovindam. Ma Guru Dhana Jana Yavana Garvam. What is the other one? Second line?
Harate Nimesha Kala Sarva.
Harati Nimeshat Kalaha Sarvam. In Nimeshat, in one blink of an eyelid, Harati Kalaha Sarvam. Kalaha destroys everything. And therefore, among all the controllers, I am Yamaha, over whom no Anatma has any control. All your bodies must ultimately surrender to Yamraj alone. Now here, of course, there was only a small grammatical point, okay? This Sanyam can be pronounced as Samyam or Sayam. Both are fine. Pronunciations are not wrong. Only in chanting, what is the preferred mode?
Sanyama.
Sanyam.
Because Sayam is easier to pronounce. Therefore, Sayam is the chanting mode. But if somebody says Samyam, don't go and correct. He is correct. There is nothing wrong in the pronunciation. Okay. Verse number 30. Prahadaschasmi daityanam
Prahladaschasmi daityanam
alah kalayatamaham
Kalayatamaham
mriganam cha mrigendroham vainateyascha pakshinam. Okay. So, Daityanam. Among the Daityas, I am Prahaladaha or Palhadaha. Then Kalayatam. Among the Kalayatams, I am the Kalaha. Mriganam. Among the animals, Aham Mrigendraha. I am the lion. And Pakshinam. Among all the birds, I am Venateyaha. Venateyaha is Garuda. Among all the birds, I am Garuda. So let's look at the words one by one. Daityanam. So, you have heard of the Prajapatis. What are Prajapatis?
Butterfly.
The creator,
Prajapati. The word itself is self-explanatory.
King of the Prajas.
creator,
Creator of all the Prajas. Prajapati. Okay. Now, among the Prajapatis, of course, those who know the Puranas will know there are very many Prajapatis. Okay. Among the Prajapatis, there's one prominent Prajapati called Kashyap. You heard of him?
yes.
He had two wives. What are the
Aditi
names?
and
Aditi
Aditi.
and Diti. Right. So Aditi's children are the Devatas. And Diti's children are the Asuras. So the question is, when the father is one and the same, how is it that one set is Devas and one set is Asuras? You have to go beyond the male and female aspect to understand. Okay. But if you get into that and say that, how can you blame the girl for it? I mean, that is not the idea here. What is the Vedantic interpretation? The one and same father represents one mind. Right? The Aditi and Diti, one represents positive, healthy thoughts. One represents unhealthy thoughts. And in terms of gunas, therefore, you have to take the two wives as representing two gunas. What are they?
Sattva and Raja.
Sattva and Rajas.
Sattva and Rajas.
So the children represent what? The vrittis, the thoughts. And we have seen all this in chapter 16. Or we will see when we come to that. Okay. So one set is called Daivi Sampattaha. The other set is called Asuri Sampattaha. Anyway, so much for the. So the idea is that among the Prajapatis, there was one Prajapati called Kashyapa. He had two wives. From one set of one wife came all the Devas. From the other wife came all the Asuras. And even among the Asuras normally have no Devata worship. But there was a Asura called Hiranya Kashipu. He had a son. His name was Prahladaha. Prahladaha was a very great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Right? Remember his father, Hiranyakashipu, was an Asura. And he hated the Lord. Right? To such a person who was the greatest enemy of Lord Vishnu was born Prahladaha, the greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu. So that's what he says. Among the Daityas, among the children of who were the Asuras, I am Prahalada, which means that among the worst, I am the best. So it's the same idea being continued. Okay. Now, Kalaha Kalayatamaham. Now, Kalayata is another name for a person who keeps track. That is, you can say an accountant. And this particular accountant, what does he keep track? He keeps track of the punyam and papam of people. Right? So among all that, he is Kalaha, he is Dharmaraja. Why? Because he keeps track and he gives the karma phalam perfectly according to the law of karma. So remember that Yamadharma Raja has got other names. One is called Chitragupta. So you must have heard the name, right? Chitragupta is no separate deity. It's only one more role of Yamadharma Raja. Gupta means secret. And therefore all karmas are secret. That is why there is a special puja to Chitragupta. You do puja saying that you are a great lord and please sweep my karmas under the carpet so that I don't get the karma phalam. Okay. Then it's not an easy job because if you are Chitragupta, what are you looking at? You're looking at all the jivas, not just the human beings. All the jivas, karma has to fructify, somebody has to fall sick, somebody has to die. So many things are there. Some person's Papa Phalam is fructifying, and some persons Punya Phalam is fructifying. The interconnections, it's a very, very complex administration. So that kind of accountant I am, who keeps track of everything. Then Mrigana Mrigendroham. So Mriga is an animal. And here every animal is being taken into account, starting from the smallest ant to the biggest dinosaur. And all the animals are reflection of my glory only. But among the animals, who is the king? The Mrigendraha, the lion. And that lion I am. Then Pakshinam Vainateyaha. So Vainateya is not a very common name, right? Vainateya is the son of Vinata. Who was Vinata? Okay, anyway, the son of Vinata is called Garuda. So Vainateya is another name for Garuda. So among all the birds, I am Garuda. And why is Garuda the most glorious among all the birds?
It's a highest.
Vishnu's Vahan.
It is
Lord
the
Vishnu's Vahan.
Vahanam for Lord Vishnu. It is a vehicle for Lord Vishnu. Therefore, I am that great devotee, Garuda, among all the birds. Now, we look at verse number 31. Pavanah Pavatamasmi.
Pavana
Pavatamsmi.
Ramashastrapratamaham.
Ramashastamaham.
Shana Makaraschasmi.
दशाननमकरश्चास्मि
स्रोतसामस्मि जाह्नवी.
श्रोत्रसामस्मि जाह्नवी
जाह्नवी
Okay. So, Pavatam means a purifier. And you have various purifiers. Water is a purifier, fire is a purifier, and so on, right? So, but air is also a purifier because air takes away all the dirty smells, right? So, Pavanaha, Pavatam Asmi. Among all the purifiers, I am Vayu. I am the wind itself. And that is why we worship both fire and the wind. If you remember this, the particular mantra, Namo Brahmane, Namaste Vayo. What's the next one?
Tvameva pratyaksham brahmasi.
Meva pratyaksham brahmasi. So, Vayu, oh Agni, you are nothing but Brahma pratyaksham. That's why you worship, because they are all purifiers. And then Ramaha Shastra Dhritamaham. Shastra Bhrita is a person carrying a weapon. So among all the people who carry weapons, I am Ramaha. I am the greatest warrior of all time. Right? So it's an idea being conveyed that even the gods are weapons, because to protect dharma, you'll wield weapons sometimes, right? There are four upayas for protecting dharma. What are they? Sama,
दामदंड
da,
भेद
sama, dana, bheda, danda. Danda is the last. Okay, when we say sama, dana, danda, bheda. In terms of the utilization, sama, dana, bheda, and danda. So sama, dana, bheda. What are they? One should know.
It's reasoning. One is reasoning.
Yes.
The other is bargaining,
negotiation
negotiation.
Dhanam is bribery, basically, giving money.
Okay.
And bheda is creating differences. Okay.
Ride and rule, and the other is
Divide and rule. These are all
Punishment.
Chanakya Niti. Okay, they have all been mentioned by Chanakya as ways of protecting dharma. And the last one is danda. When
Danda.
these
Punishing.
non-violent, remember that sama, dhana, and dhanam and bhedam, they are all non-violent methods. If non-violent methods fail, then danda, which is only the violent method, has to be used, right? Destroying evil is necessary sometimes. Like, for example, when one limb has gangrene, then you have to amputate that limb to save the body. Similarly, destruction of evil is necessary for sometimes for saving society. So there is a little sloka from Mahabharata. I think for those who are interested, I think it's the Adi Parva. So it says, I'll chant it. You can see if you can understand the meaning. Tyajet kularthe purusham. So we can reword that. Kularthe purusham tyajet. What does it mean? For kula arthe, for protecting a family, purusham tyajet. You can sacrifice one person of the family, right? The next one is gramasyarthe kulam tyajet. That you can understand.
for
To
the
save
The
village.
village, protection of the village.
sacrifice
One
the family.
can be.
Family, right? Gramam janapadhyasyarthe. For saving the whole nation or all the people of the nation, the village itself can be sacrificed. And then comes the last one, atmarthe prithveen tyajet. For getting moksha, you can sacrifice the earth. Okay, so, and therefore, he says, this I am Ramaha, I am the greatest god among the gods who have got weapons. And then Jashana Makaraschasmi. So among all the fish, I am Makaraha. So here Makaraha can be any large, water animal, like maybe shark, whale, crocodile, whichever is even the blue whale. So among all the fish, I am the strongest, I am the largest. Then Strota Samasmi Janvihi. Srotas means that which flows, so that the river, Shravati, to flow. So among all the rivers of the world, I am Janvi. Janvi is another name for Ganga. Why is Ganga called Janvi? Anybody knows?
From
What is it?
Juhnu, say Juhnu's.
Sorry?
Juhnu, say Juhnu.
Anybody knows the story of how Ganga came into the world?
Bhagirath.
Yes. If you know the story, can you just tell it to somebody so that everybody can understand?
Oh, I don't remember the whole story, but I know that Bhagirath was responsible for bringing it down, and then he could not contain her. So then Shiva tied her up on his hair.
Anyway, I suggest you guys
The
go and read up this story.
story,
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
so when the goddess Ganga descended upon the earth after being released from Shiva's locks,
Yeah.
waters were wreaking havoc on Janu's fields, and angered by this, the great sage drank up all of Ganga's waters to punish her.
Yeah.
Then, seeing this, Devas prayed to the sage to release Ganga so that she could proceed on her mission to release the souls of ancestors of Bhagirath.
Yeah.
So Janu relented and he released Ganga from his ear. So because of this,
He's called?
it's he called Janvi, meaning daughter of Janu.
Daughter of Janu. So that's the name, right? And the story initially is that the Bhagirath's ancestors were reduced to ash by a rishi because they disturbed his penance. And then when Bhagirath was there, he was told that the only way for your ancestors to go back to Swarga is for Ganga to wash away the ash. And therefore he prayed to Lord Shiva to make Ganga come down. Right? So he prayed to Ganga to come down. And Ganga told him that I can't come down because if I come down from the heavens, the force of my descent will destroy the world. So then he went to Lord Shiva and said, can you take Ganga on your head? And that's how Ganga came down. And that's why you'll find many, pictorials, the representation of Ganga falling on Lord Shiva's head. So Ganga fell on Lord Shiva's head and the force was broken and then it flowed down. That is why it comes from the mountains. And then, of course, as Pandana said, the force of Ganga destroyed the fields of the Rishi. The Rishi got mad and drank up Ganga. And then Bhagirath prayed saying that Ganga came for a particular reason. And therefore the Rishi said fine and released Ganga through his ears. That is why Janvi, daughter of Ganga.
Acharya ji, how is it connected here in Mahabharata? They show that Ganga had putra which she killed, and only Bhishma was left. So
you should not look at Ganga as only Ganga the river. Ganga is Ganga Devi also.
Devi.
Yeah. So that Ganga Devi is what is referred to as the mother of Bhishma. All right. So the very literal translation of Ganga is Agam Papam Gamayati iti Ganga. Agam is Papam. So Agam Papam Gamayati. Gamayati is to take away or to remove. And therefore that which removes the Papam is Gamayati. That is why we all of us say that a dip in the Ganga will be a great purifier. Right? Okay. Now also in Vedanta, Ganga represents what? Puranas is fine. In Vedanta, what does Ganga represent?
Knowledge, Jnana.
The flow of Ganga represents the flow of Brahma Vidya. That is a comparison. And why do you compare? Because wherever there is a comparison, some amount of common features should be there, right? So what is the clownfish here? Ganga originated from Lord Shiva's head. So that story I gave you, when Ganga came down from the earth, from the heavens first, it fell on Lord Shiva's head. So for us, Ganga is originating from Lord Shiva's head. So Ganga is coming down to bless us. For Brahma Vidya also, who is the Adi Guru?
Lord Shiva.
Shiva Samarambha. He chanted every time, right? So Brahma Vidya also comes down from Lord Shiva's head. So that is the first comparison between Ganga and Brahma Vidya. The second is the Ganga flows from the Himalayas downwards onto a lower plane. Brahma Vidya also flows from Guru to Shishya. So Shishya are always lower plane, either symbolically or actually also. When you're sitting in a class, the student is below and the teacher is normally on a dais. So Guru is seated on a higher plane, Shishya is on a lower plane. Okay. Then the Ganga never dries up. Even in the worst summer, you will find that Ganga is there. Right? And if you have gone to Rishikesh and all, you will find that what is the temperature of the water in the river in, let us say, midsummer. In May, if you go and dip into the Ganga in Rishikesh, what is the temperature?
It's like ice, melted ice.
It's like melted ice, literally. Why? Because the ice in the mountains, it melts during that season, and Ganga is terribly cold that time, right? So, it's a perennial river. Atma Vidya is also perennial. It never dries up. The flow never breaks. What is the proof that the flow of Brahma Vidya never breaks?
It goes from generation to generation. It's being passed.
Arjuna got Brahma Vidya. We are also getting Brahma Vidya. Thousands of years apart. Right? Then, if you dip in the Ganga, and this I can tell you personally, you dip in the Ganga, there is a feeling of, being completely rejuvenated. Anybody who has dipped in the Ganga will tell you that it's not just a dip. It is as if things have flown away from your mind also, been taken away from your mind. You feel very fresh and very refreshed. In the same way, Atmagyanam dipping refreshes you. Okay. Then there's a very important point. Ganga flows from Gomukh downwards, all the way up to where?
Calcutta.
All the way
Sundarban
up to Calcutta, right?
Delta.
Now, in the Ganga, you can't just go and dip anywhere because, some places you don't know the depth of the river, some places the flow is very strong, and therefore you can take a dip only where specially prepared place for a dip. These are called ghats. You'll find that there are steps over there, there's a chain over there. So you can dip holding onto the chips or holding onto the chain so that you don't get washed away. And if you have dipped in, Rishikesh during the summer season, you will know that the moment your leg goes into the water, it is as if that, your leg is taken away by the water. So if you're not holding onto the chain, there is a very good chance that that dip will be your last dip, right? So that's why ghats are necessary. And therefore, similarly, what is the similarity with Atma Vidya? You cannot just take up a book and read.
You need you.
It's a very dangerous proposition because it's not that you will not understand. You will definitely misunderstand. And a person who has misunderstood Vedanta is dangerous not only for himself, but because he will misunderstand and he will think he's a great guru. And then he will go and teach others. So he will destroy himself and he will destroy others also. So SPG calls him a ticking Vedantic time bomb. Anyway. All right. Any questions so far? Fine. Verse number 32. Sarganam adirantascha
सर्गाणामाद्यन्तश्च
मध्यं चैवाहमर्जुन
मध्यं चैवाहमर्जुन
अध्यात्मविद्या विद्यानाम्
अध्यात्मविद्या विद्यानां
वादः प्रवदतामहम्
वादः प्रवदतामहम्.
So sarganam adihi antaha madhyam cha. Sarga means the srishti, the creation. In the creation, I am the adi, I am the antaha, and I am the madhyam also. Now when he says this, if you have been a close follower of the Shastram, in this chapter itself he has said it elsewhere. Where has he said?
Chapter 2.
This same chapter. Don't have to go
Verse
back.
20.
Verse 2. Verse 2
20.
also.
Verse 20. Aham adischa
20.
madhyam cha
Yes.
bhutanam anta eva cha. Right? So isn't that punarukti dosha? Isn't he guilty of repetition? He's saying the same thing. I am the beginning, middle, and end of everything.
Important, Anna.
Beg your pardon?
Something which is of that much significance needs to be repeated to be understood better.
You
Which is
can say
important.
that, but commentators, sub-commentators, Shankara doesn't comment. Sub-commentators say that you have to take them as uh, time-wise and space-wise. So once when he says Adi Anta Madhyam, he means space-wise. Spatially, he is the beginning, the middle, and the end. And otherwise, in the second one, whichever one you take, if you take 1020 as space-wise, you take this one as time-wise. If you take 1020 as time-wise, you take this one as space-wise. The whichever way you look at it, of course, spatially, time-wise, anything, ultimately, what does it mean? I am the middle, the beginning, the middle, and the end. When you say I am beginning, middle, and end, you are simply saying I am everything. Right? You can also take sarga as kriya, activity. Right? So any activity begins with the sankalpa, with the resolution that I am going to do this. The activity continues with the kriya, and the activity ends with what?
Phalam.
Phalam. So sankalpa, kriya, phalam. All these three I alone am. So there's different ways of looking at it. Okay, different taken from different commentators. So ultimately, whichever way you look at it, aham utpattihi, aham sthitihi, I am layaha. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end. So this is what most people say. Shankaracharya comments differently. So in verse number 22, in verse number 20, 10:20, he says that bhutaha, he said that bhutaha means the jiva adhishthanam, the body. Okay, here it is not jiva adhishthanam means the body, and therefore only the chetana jivas are being referred to. Only chetana bhutas are being referred to. Only the jivas are being referred to, not chetana jivas. Only the bhutas, chetana bhutas, living beings. Therefore jivas. But in here, in 1032, the word used, Shankara says, is sarga. And sarga means srishti. And srishti means chetana and achetana. So that's the meaning that you can take. That in the 20th verse, Krishna meant that he was the beginning, middle, end of all Chetana Jivas. And in this verse, he says that I am the beginning, middle, and end of everything, whether it is Chetana or Achetana. Ultimately, whatever meaning you take, the final meaning is what? I am the beginning, I am the middle, I am the end. I am everything. Sarvam Aham Asmi. Okay. Then Adhyatma Vidya Vidyana. So, Vidya means any discipline. Right? So it can be Shiksha, it can be Kalpa, it can be Vyakaranam, it can be Niruktam. all these Vedic disciplines. It can be physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology. Among all of them, Adhyatma Vidya Ahamasmi. Why does he say that among all the Vidyas, I am Atma Vidya? What is so special? Why is Atma Vidya the superior to any of the material sciences?
Because all other vidyas would be left here, but Atma Vidya goes with you.
Anybody else?
So that leads us to moksha.
It reveals moksha.
Is the yeah.
All of the Vidyas are Vidyas of Anatma.
Okay, but what is the problem
And
with
this,
being a Vidya Vadatma?
Limited. They all are
It
limited.
doesn't, it is limited.
and
Not
Purnatvam will
only is
come
it
only
limit,
with
not
Atma
only is it
Vidya.
limited, it only
Purnatvam,
increases your sense of limitation. That is more important. When you study astronomy, and somebody tells you that the nearest galaxy is 130 light years away, the distance which you are imagining and you as a spot in the world, small dot in the world, it increases your sense of limitation. It is only Atma Vidya which tells you that there is no limitation. And that is why it's important. So only a Vedantic who has studied Brahma Vidya can say what? Purnamadaha Purnamidam. You cannot say that if you're studying local sciences. That's the meaning of among all the sciences, I am Atma Vidya. Then Vadaha Pravadatamaham. So here we have often talked about four kinds of Vada, Jalpa, Vitanda, etc. Remember, four kinds of discussions are talked about. What are they?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Here it is, the Shankara comments. So if anybody wants to know where those meanings are coming from, it may be elsewhere also, but here in this in his Bhashyam on this particular verse, Shankara comments. So he says, among all the discussions, katha is a discussion, he says a person who wants to win a debate, right? He talks about a person who wants to be victorious in a debate. And what is the methodology he uses? He negates the Purva Pakshi first. The opponent's arguments he negates. Parapraksha, Parapaksha, Nirakaranam. He negates the Purva Pakshi, the opponent's arguments. And then Swapaksha Sthapanam. So two things are necessary. First is that you have to negate the arguments of the opponent. And then you have to establish your own position. This is called Jalpa. Okay, a debate between two rivals, and where, of course, each one is convinced that he is the only one right and the other one is wrong. That conviction should be there, and therefore the discussion in a Jalpa is only to negate the other person's views and to prove that you are right. Okay. So it might look very judgmental. Is it? Is it judgmental? It's only a classification, okay? Because for that matter, every Bhashyam is what? Jalpa only. Because you begin the Bhashyam by negating the opponent's views and then establish your views. Shankara's Bhashyam is that only. He first negates and then establishes his viewpoint. So every Bhashyam is Jalpa. Don't take it as a judgmental classification. It's only a one type of discussion. Then the next one is Vitanda. Vitanda means it's a different meaning. Here, the sole purpose is negating the opponent. Whatever he says is wrong. But I don't have any view of my own. So I don't establish my own view. The sole aim that I have in the discussion called Vitanda is to humiliate the other person by telling him that whatever you are saying is wrong. Right? And if you see today's political dialogue, you will find that almost all the dialogues fall under this. No dialogue will somebody say that, okay, let me see what you have to say, and then this is what I have to say. They don't say that. Whatever you're doing is wrong. Okay. Then the third one is Vadaha. So Vadaha is a different form of discussion where the sole purpose is Tatparya Nirnaya, to arrive at the truth, which means both the opponents respect each other and they discuss. And during the discussion, both will finally accept one position, which is the truth. So that is called Vadaha. Then, of course, there is the other one, the fourth one, which is Samvadaha, between the teacher and the student. And here, he says, among the three type of discussions, which are Jalpa, Vitanda, and Vadaha, I am the Vadaha. I am the best type of discussion because I respect my opponent respects me. Samvada is excluded because it's not really a discussion, it's a teaching. Right? So in all our studies, basically, we are using this method only, Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. In any Samvada, any teaching, Shravanam is what? Arriving at the correct meaning. That is Vadaha. Mananam is discussing and dismissing the wrong meaning. That is Jalpaha. So Vada Jalpa are used very frequently in SMN, Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. Okay, we look at verse number 33. Aksharanamakarosmi
Aksharaणामकारोऽस्मि
Vandas Samasikasya cha
द्वन्द्वसामसिकस्य च
Bhamevakshakalaha
अहमेवाक्षकालः
Ataham Vishwato Mukha.
ताताहं विश्वतो मुखः.
So, I am the letter A. In any Indian language, A is the first letter. And you know also that phonetically also, when the baby opens its mouth, the first sound is A. Not only that, that is a natural sound from the mouth. Because when you go to the dentist and he says, say ah, it is ah, it's first sound of the mouth. Therefore, the first letter A is taken as the very upadana karanam for all alphabets. Therefore, he says, among all the alphabets, I am A. Where is that said? Aksharanam akaro asmi. Among all the akshars, all the alphabets, I am akaraha. Akara is A. Then, dvandaha samasikasya. Okay. Samasi. It's a samasa, it is called. What's a samasa? Or grammar. But necessary to understand this.
Compound word.
A compound word. Okay. For example, let's put it in English. You are going, you tell your daughter, your child, I need some materials for my puja. Right? So go and buy it. That child comes back and says, Mama or Papa, here are the puja materials. What is the difference between what you said and what child says? You said material for puja, for doing puja. that the child is compressed into a compound word, puja material. Right? Very rough thing. For another example, can we say Shiva temple? If you have to expand that, how would you say?
Temple of Shiva.
Temple of Shiva.
The temple of Lord Shiva, or the temple where Lord Shiva is worshipped, right? You can have, 3 words samasa also. Zoom classes conducted on Zoom platform. And supposing it's a Gita class, you can simply say, I am going for Zoom Gita class. It's a compound word. 3 words have been joined. But what is the full meaning? I am going to the Gita class which is conducted on Zoom platform. You see the difference? So this kind of compound formation is very systematically done in Vyakarana, in Sanskrit grammar. And there are many types of such compound words. Compound words are called samasaha. Okay. There are many types of such compound words. I'm explaining all this because you must know why he says that is a particular type of compound. Without that, you won't know the meaning, why it is the best. So you have to indulge me while I do a bit of Sanskrit explanations. Okay. So samasas are compound words. Now there are different types of samasas. They are called, for example, Tatpurusha samasa, Bahuvrihi samasa, and Dvanda samasa. Anybody is familiar with these? No. Okay. Samasa, as I said, is a compound word, which means 2 words are there. Now in a Tatpurusha samasa, there is a combination of 2 words. The first word adds some value or description to the second word. For example, Raj Purohit. Right? Purohit is what? The priest. What does the word Raj add to it?
It describes it better. Yes.
It gives him a standing. It adds value to the Purohit. He is not just a normal Purohit. He is the king's Purohit. So Raja Purohit. Such a combination where the first word is adding value or qualifying the second word is called Tatpurusha Samasa. Okay? You don't have to remember. I'm just for the purpose of explanation. Then there is something else which I said is called a Bahuvrihi Samasa. In the Bahuvrihi Samasa, 2 words are put together, but the artha, the object which the compound word will refer to, is neither the first word nor the second word. For example, let us say Chaturmukha. Chaturmukha has 2 words. Chatur plus Mukha. Chatur means what? 4. Mukha means what? Face. But the word Chaturmukha refers to whom?
Brahmaji.
To
Brahmaji.
Brahmaji. Therefore, the object which is meant by the word Chaturmukha is neither Chatur nor Mukha. It's a third entity completely. Such a samasa is called Bahuvrihi. Right? You can think of many. Nilakantha. Nila means blue, Kantha means throat. However, Nilakantha is neither blue nor throat. It is Lord Shiva. Right? Similarly, Chakrapani. Chakra is what? It's a discus. Pani is what? Hands. But Chakrapani is neither discus nor hands. Chakrapani is Lord Vishnu. Is it clear?
Yes.
The difference between
Yes, sir.
Tatpurusha Samasa and Bahuri Samasa. Then there is a third one called Dvanda Samasa. In Dvanda Samasa, the meaning of both the words are present in the new meaning also. For example, Sukha Dukhe is one word. So Samasa. But Sukha Dukhi gives you the meaning of both Sukham and Dukham. Similarly, Jaya Ajayo gives the meaning of victory and defeat. So in the Dvanda Samasa, the meanings of both the words are taken. Okay, now, why does he use this as an example?
Atma, Anatma.
No, what is he saying first you see? Dvanda Samasikasya cha. What is he saying? Among all the Dvandas, Dvanda means Samasa over here, okay? Among all the, among all the Samasas,
Samasas.
I am Dvanda. So among all the three which we saw, what was the first one? It only added meaning to the second. The first word only added meaning to the second, didn't have a separate meaning by itself. The second one did what? It referred to a third object, therefore dropping the meaning of both the words. But the Dvandaha, both the meanings are there. And therefore, what he is saying, I am Dvandaha means I am the very material cause. I am there everywhere. Nothing is lost in me. Therefore, I am the very material cause. I am the very Upadana Karanam of all the samasas. Because both words' meanings are there. In other samasas, the meanings are dropped. But in this samasa, in Dvanda Samasa, both the meanings are taken. Therefore, I am the best among all the samasas. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Then, aham evaksha kalaha. So, aham akshaya kalaha. Kala tattvam is something which destroys everything. But time destroys everything. But time itself does not have an end. And therefore, when you talk about time, there is no aham. There is no among. Among all this, I am time. That you cannot say because time doesn't have an end. And therefore, here, aham akshaya kalaha. I am that time which is non-destructible, which is the very swarupam of Brahman. Shankara adds here, since akshaya refers to the essence of time, that time is eternal and never ending. What is the substratum of time? Brahman alone. So that also here he says, I am that time which is never ending. I am the very substratum of time. Then aham dhataha. I am the one who gives appropriate results for all the karma of all the people at the correct time. Then Vishwato Mukhaha, my face is turned in all the directions. Why? Because as karma phaladata, I have to know the karma of everybody. The simple meaning is that I am all pervasive. I am the sakshi of the karmas of all the jivas. So with this, we'll stop for today if you have any questions. Okay, so this will stop. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Om Tat Sat. Thank you,
Om
Acharya.
Acharya.